You know that strange tension that rises when someone steps just a bit too close? When their presence feels heavy, their voice too loud, their questions too deep, too soon. You try to stay polite. You nod. You smile. But somewhere inside, something locks up. Your body knows it before your mind can explain it. That quiet urge to lean back, to pull away, to take a small step towards safety. It's not that you dislike people. You simply feel the moment when someone's energy touches yours uninvited. And for you, that moment matters. Because your space, physical or emotional, isn't empty. It's filled with your thoughts, your peace, your rhythm. And when someone enters it too fast, it's like a stranger walking into your home without knocking. You've learned to be careful with closeness. Maybe from people who once got too close and didn't respect your limits. Maybe from times you shared too much and ended up feeling exposed, drained, or misunderstood. So now, your comfort zone has become a quiet boundary, not made of walls, but of awareness. You start noticing the subtle signs. When conversations feel too invasive, when someone lingers too long in your energy, when their presence starts to take up the air you need to breathe. You don't always say it out loud, but you feel it deep inside. That small voice saying, "I need space." And the truth is, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not coldness. It's clarity. It's the body's natural way of keeping you balanced, of reminding you that your peace deserves protection. Because personal space isn't just about distance between bodies. It's about distance between energies. It's the invisible field where you recharge, where you think clearly, where you come back to yourself. And when someone crosses that line too soon, even with kind intentions, it can feel like they're moving furniture inside a room you haven't finished decorating. It feels wrong. It feels rushed. So you pull back, not to reject them, but to return to your center. To remind yourself, my calm is mine. My energy is mine. You don't need to apologize for that. You're not being too guarded. You're simply honoring the invisible space that keeps you grounded in who you are. Your space is not just a piece of air around you. It's the field where your energy lives, your emotions, your focus, your calm. It's where you collect yourself after long days, where your thoughts unfold without interruption, where you can simply exist without having to perform. That invisible space is sacred. It's your emotional breathing room. When someone enters it carelessly, you don't just lose comfort. You lose part of your balance. Because your energy reacts to people before your words ever do. You can feel when someone brings chaos, when their presence pulls instead of adds, when their tone, their pace, their energy tries to take more than you can give. Sometimes they don't even mean harm, but your body knows the difference between peace and pressure. Your space is where you reset. It's where you return after giving so much to the world. It's where you recharge the parts of yourself that no one else sees. And that's why not everyone is meant to be close to you. You start to notice how some people drain your energy without saying a word. You feel tired after seeing them, as if they've taken a piece of your stillness. And then there are others, the rare few, whose energy feels calm, light, and easy. You don't have to guard yourself with them. They don't crowd your space. They respect it. That's the difference. Some people enter your world like noise, others like silence. Your space is the filter. It decides what stays and what goes. It keeps your peace safe from energies that don't match your frequency. Because not everyone deserves access to your inner calm. Not everyone has earned the right to stand close to your spirit. When you protect your space, you're not being distant. You're being wise. You're learning to manage your energy the way you manage your time, with intention, with awareness, and with love for yourself. You've realized that peace doesn't just happen. It's something you have to build, something you have to guard. Your space is the doorway to that peace. So when you say, "I need some time alone," or "I just need space," what you're really saying is, "I need to recharge my energy so I can return to the world whole again." Protecting that energy isn't selfish. It's survival. It's how you stay clear, calm, and connected to yourself in a world that's constantly trying to pull you out of your own center. There's a reason your guard rises before you even think about it. A reason you hesitate to let people too close, even when they seem kind, even when they mean well. It's not stubbornness, it's memory. It's protection that lives deep in your subconscious. Somewhere along the way, your mind learned that closeness can come with cost. That opening up too fast can invite disappointment. That trusting too easily can lead to being used, misunderstood, or drained. So now a quiet part of you stands watch. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You might not always notice it, but this protective part of you decides how much to reveal, how far to go, and when to pull back. It's the whisper that says, "Not yet, not them, not this time." It's the instinct that knows when your energy is in danger. And while others might label it walls, you know it's not that simple. These aren't walls, they're filters. They separate what nourishes you from what drains you. They allow kindness, but block chaos. They welcome honesty, but reject control. You protect your space because you've learned how fragile peace can be. It only takes one careless person to shake it, one manipulative tone to pierce it, one invasion of your quiet to make you feel small again. So your mind became your shield. But this protection isn't only about fear of hurt. It's about the need to stay yourself. When people come too close, their energy starts mixing with yours. Their moods, their opinions, their noise can cloud your clarity. And without space, it's hard to hear your own inner voice. That's why you sometimes feel tired after social moments, even the good ones. Your subconscious is busy sorting through what's yours and what's not. It's filtering emotions, detaching from energies that don't belong to you. That's emotional hygiene, and it's powerful. You protect yourself because you've worked too hard to build stability inside. You've spent time healing, grounding, and finding your rhythm. And you're not willing to hand that over easily. So when you keep your distance, when you say no without guilt, when you choose silence over small talk, you're not cold. You're honoring the unseen part of you that's trying to keep you safe. You've learned that protecting your energy is not about isolation. It's about intention. It's not about fear. It's about freedom. Because when you protect your space, you protect your power. And that power is the foundation of everything that keeps you calm, strong, and whole. You've learned to find peace in your own company. You don't need noise to feel alive. You don't need approval to feel sure. And you don't need constant connection to feel loved. Because independence, for you, isn't loneliness. It's clarity. It's control over your energy, your choices, and your time. It's the quiet relief of knowing that your peace depends on no one else's mood. You've discovered that when you stand alone, you hear yourself more clearly. You move at your own pace. You make decisions that feel right, not just decisions that please others. That freedom feels like oxygen. But independence doesn't just appear. It's something you build, piece by piece. After every disappointment, every broken trust, every moment when you realize that leaning on the wrong person can cost you peace. So you learn to lean on yourself. to listen to your intuition, to trust that solitude isn't emptiness. It's space to grow. You stopped explaining your need for distance. You stopped apologizing for wanting quiet, because you finally understood not everyone feels comfortable being alone, but that's where you find your balance. Independence is your safety net. It's what keeps you steady when people leave, when plans change, when the world gets loud. It's your reminder that you can always rebuild, because you've done it before, by yourself. And yes, sometimes people misunderstand that. They think your calm means you don't care. They mistake your silence for arrogance. But they don't see the peace you protect behind that stillness, the kind of peace that comes from not needing validation to know your worth. You've learned that giving someone access to your world is a privilege, not a default. They don't just enter, they earn their place. Because your energy, your focus, your stability, these are things you've worked hard to create. And you won't let anyone take that lightly. So when you say, "I like being on my own," what you really mean is, "I like feeling in control of my peace." You enjoy your independence because it allows you to move with purpose, to love without losing yourself, to connect without collapsing into someone else's chaos. Independence isn't a wall. It's your anchor. It's what keeps you rooted when life gets uncertain. It's what lets you give freely, because you're not giving from emptiness. You're giving from overflow. And that's the beauty of it. The more you protect your independence, the stronger, calmer, and more present you become. Not only for yourself, but for everyone you choose to let in. There comes a moment when you realize that protecting your peace and letting people in don't have to be opposites. You don't have to choose between closeness and freedom. You just have to learn the rhythm between them. Because too much distance can make you hard, and too much openness can make you drained. The balance lives somewhere in between, where connection feels safe and solitude still feels sacred. You've learned that not everyone who reaches for you deserves your energy. Some people connect to take, and others connect to understand. You start to feel the difference, the way your body relaxes around people who bring calm, and tightens around those who bring chaos. That's your guide. Nate Rat. That's your inner compass. True connection never demands that you shrink. It doesn't rush your trust, doesn't guilt you for needing time, doesn't confuse access with love. It respects your pauses. It understands your boundaries. It gives you space to breathe and still stays close enough to care. Because the right people won't make you choose between them and yourself. They'll meet you where you are. In your quiet, in your independence, in your need for stillness. They'll see that your distance isn't rejection. It's balance. They won't take it personally when you need time alone. They'll understand that you return softer when you're given room to recharge. You begin to realize that connection isn't about being constantly available. It's about being authentic when you show up. You can't give your best if your energy is scattered. You can't love deeply if your peace is disturbed. So you choose connection that feels mutual, where giving and receiving happen naturally, where no one feels emptied by the other. And when you find those people, the ones who don't rush your openness, who listen more than they demand, who can sit with your silence and still feel close, you realize that protection doesn't block love. It refines it. It makes space for love that feels calm, not chaotic. Because healthy closeness doesn't invade. It coexists. It doesn't take your energy. It amplifies it. It doesn't push against your walls. It walks beside them. You start to feel safe letting people in again. Not because you've lowered your guard, but because you've learned to trust your own boundaries. You know now that saying, "I need space," doesn't end connection. It protects the kind that truly matters. Real balance is when you can open your heart without losing your center. When you can share your energy without letting anyone drain it. When you can love deeply and still return home to yourself. There comes a time when you stop giving your energy to everyone who asks for it. Not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. You've seen what happens when you pour into every conversation, every crisis, every request. You end up empty, wondering who's left to refill you. So now, you've become intentional. You listen to your intuition more than people's expectations. You notice how your body reacts to others, how some people feel like sunlight, and others feel like noise. You no longer ignore that feeling. You honor it. Being selective isn't cruelty. It's clarity. It's knowing that your attention is a form of energy, and energy is currency. Not everyone has earned the right to spend it. You've realized that peace grows in silence, that joy deepens in solitude, that your energy is most powerful when it's not scattered trying to please everyone. You'd rather have 3 genuine connections than 30 shallow ones. You'd rather be alone with calm than surrounded by chaos. You protect your peace the way you protect something rare, because it is rare. You've spent years building it through healing, reflection, and strength. And now, you understand how fragile it can be. One careless person can shake it. One endless conversation can drain it. One unguarded moment can exhaust it. So you've learned the art of energy conservation. You give where it's safe. You give where it's mutual. You give where it feels light, not heavy. And that's what makes your presence powerful. You're not everywhere, but where you are, you're fully there. You don't chase attention. You choose alignment. You don't give endlessly. You give intentionally. The world will always demand pieces of you, but you now understand. Not every demand deserves a response. Not every voice deserves your focus. Not every connection deserves your access, because your energy is sacred. And when you learn to protect it, you stop surviving in fragments and start living in fullness. There's a strength that doesn't shout. It doesn't fight to be seen or rush to be understood. It simply stands still, calm, grounded, and unbothered. That strength is peace. You've spent years thinking power meant control, meant proving, explaining, or defending. But now you know. Real power is quiet. It's the ability to walk away without anger, to stay calm when others try to provoke you, to say nothing and still make your boundaries clear. Your peace is not weakness. It's discipline. It's choosing what deserves your reaction and what doesn't. It's learning that not everything needs a reply. Not everyone deserves your energy, and not every situation needs your involvement. You start to understand that peace isn't something you find outside yourself. It's something you become. It's what happens when your energy, your space, and your boundaries align. When you stop fighting for attention and start protecting your focus. Because peace gives you clarity. Clarity to see who you are, what matters, and who truly values your presence. It gives you the confidence to say no without guilt, to rest without apology, to protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Your peace is your power, because it can't be stolen. People can misunderstand you, criticize your calm, mock your distance, but they can't shake what's built within you. You've reached a place where silence is strength and stillness is survival. Where not reacting is its own kind of victory. and where protecting your space is no longer a defense mechanism. It's a declaration of self-worth. So you stay grounded in your peace. You walk lightly, you speak intentionally, you give carefully. Because your power isn't in being louder. It's in being unshaken. And the beauty of it all? When you live in peace, you attract peace. When you move calmly, you draw people who value calm. When you protect your energy, you build a life that feels steady, not chaotic. You become untouchable in the best way, not hard, but centered. Not detached, but deeply in control of your own presence. Because at the end of the day, your peace is your power, and protecting it is the most loving thing you will ever do for yourself. Not letting everyone in doesn't make you distant. It makes you aware. You've learned that your peace isn't built on how many people surround you, but on how safe you feel inside yourself. You've outgrown the need to explain your quiet, to apologize for your boundaries, to prove that you care just because you keep your distance. Now you understand. Silence can be love. Space can be respect. Distance can be wisdom. You no longer see protection as isolation. You see it as alignment. Because every time you protect your energy, you're choosing clarity over confusion, truth over performance, and peace over approval. You've realized that not everyone deserves access to your softness. Not everyone is ready to handle your honesty, your stillness, your energy. And that's okay. You're not meant to be open to everyone. You're meant to be true with the right ones. There's a quiet kind of power in that. To know yourself deeply enough to say, this is where I end and you begin. To hold space for love while still protecting your own peace. To give from overflow, not from exhaustion. You've learned that you don't have to shout to be seen or over-explain to be understood. You just have to live in truth, calmly, clearly, and unapologetically. The right people will never need to invade your space to feel close to you. They'll sense your warmth even from a distance. They'll respect your silence as much as your words. They'll see that your boundaries are not barriers. They're bridges. Bridges that connect only where energy flows both ways. So let them call you reserved. Let them misunderstand your quiet. Because you know what you're doing. You're protecting the energy that builds your peace, your strength, your life. You've stopped chasing connection just to feel seen. Now you protect your peace so you can see yourself clearly. Because at the end of the day, your personal space is more than a boundary. It's your sanctuary. It's the place where you return, recharge, and rise. And the people meant for you will never ask you to shrink that space. They'll step gently into it, honor it, and meet you there. In peace, not pressure. You've spent enough time giving, proving, adjusting. Now, you move differently. You speak slower. You listen more. You trust the calm inside you more than the noise around you. You begin to see that peace isn't the absence of people. It's the presence of yourself. It's the way your heart feels when you no longer chase understanding. When you stop waiting for others to validate your stillness. You walk through the world softer but stronger. You smile, but with awareness. You love, but with boundaries. You open up, but with intention. And every step you take carries the quiet power of someone who has returned home, not to a place, but to their own soul. So you let the world move at its chaotic speed, while you move at the rhythm of peace. You no longer need to prove you're calm. You embody it.